Dub Nation, I want to tell you 3 reasons why you should subscribe to Warriors Today by Chat Sports. 1, because some ESPN analysts don't think the Warriors are going to make the playoffs. And plus, in the back half of this show, we're going to talk about the Warriors are looking at adding a big in the offseason. And if they're not, they definitely should. Plus, you'd be joining a 62,000 person deep community for everything Golden State Warriors. So, if you guys have not subscribed already, I want you guys to go ahead and hit that sub button for me because these are 2 topics we're going to be talking about today. But every day we break down news and rumors surrounding your favorite NBA team. Let's break down what ESPN Bet had to say about the Golden State Warriors playoff odds right now. Yes is plus 160. No is minus 200. The Warriors are currently 10th place in the Western Conference, just a few games ahead of the 11th place, which if they end up in 11th place on April 16th, they will not be in the play-in tournament. Now, if they do make the play-in tournament, that's not completely guaranteed that they're still going to make it to the first round of playoffs. They still have to win the play-in tournament, and a lot of Dub Nation fans are starting to get very weary that this is not going to happen. So like I said, go on ahead and hit that sub button for me because I do want to break down what one NBA analyst had to say about the Golden State Warriors not potentially making the playoffs this season. Austin Rivers, former NBA player now turned analyst to ESPN, says if they're not making the playoffs, it's a clear-cut sign of what direction they have to go in to have some kind of success in the future of postseasons. Austin Rivers says that everything is riding on the Warriors postseason this year to see what's going to determine for the Golden State Warriors' future. However, NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins, who I don't listen to very much, did make a good point just saying that, look, the way they've been playing this year, they've got too much emotional baggage. It doesn't look like they're very focused on the NBA Finals this year. Plus, if the Warriors don't make the playoffs this year, could Dunleavy look to bring in another star to center themselves around Steph Curry? I believe the Warriors are going to continue building around Steph Curry until he is officially done in the NBA. They will have time to build around Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, and the younger guys, but if you still have Curry, and he's still at his pretty much prime right now, you build around him because you have to look at what Curry has done in the past decade for the Golden State Warriors. They've missed 2 playoffs since the 2013-2014 NBA season. They've had 6 NBA Finals appearances, and they have won 4 of those NBA Finals. Now, we all remember what happened when they didn't win their NBA Finals in 2016. They lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Well, that's when Kevin Durant decided to join the Warriors merely a month after that loss because they did not like losing to LeBron James, and they did not want their dynasty to be over just yet. So they brought one of the best players currently in the NBA to one of the best teams that was then in the NBA, the Golden State Warriors and Kevin Durant. So that makes me wonder if Mike Dunleavy is going to bring another superstar to the Warriors in the offseason if they do not make the playoffs at all this season. Unfortunately, I think that they might make, I think they'll make the play-ins here in this year. I'm just not sure how far they're going to get in the NBA playoffs, and I'm just being completely real. The reason why is they've dealt with so many external things this season that while the play-in is still very achievable as they're in 10th place, I just don't see, if they do make it past the play-in, how far they can go in the NBA playoffs, but that's just me. If you guys think the Warriors are going to make it in the postseason, go on ahead and type Y for yes, type in for no. While you guys are doing that, let me go on ahead and break down our sponsor here on Warriors Today by Chat Sports. That's going to be Prize Picks. I'm playing it, and here's why you guys should be too. It's extremely easy. All you have to do is pick between 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on a player's projected stats, and you can win up to 100 times your money right now with just 4 correct picks. Look, I know bills are coming, so this is my favorite way to test my skills. I put in merely $10 and I have a chance to win $1,000. These are my picks for the college men's and women's tournament going on right now, and I do have an NBA pick as well. So if you actually go to the specials tab in your Prize Picks app, they actually have combined the men and women's tournament for some of these picks. So I did like Alyssa to have more Alyssa and DJ Burns Jr. to have more than 34.5 points combined, because why not? You're playing for everything right now. And then I have Tatum having more than 9 boards, because a lot of Celtics players have been injured recently. No Kristaps Porzingis. Al Horford may or may not be playing, so why don't we put it all on Jason Tatum's shoulders and see if he can grab 9 boards. Those are my prize picks. You guys can go on ahead and make yours right now. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types. That's what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Go on ahead and head over to prizepicks.com/CLNS and get a first-time deposit match of $100. prizepicks.com/CLNS. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy. While we are talking about possibly picking up some players in the offseason, I want to talk about Draymond Green injury update, as he has recently been dealing with this back injury. And it feels like he's kind of fighting father time here, because he actually revealed he thought it would be like a 90-minute process to be rehabilitated before they played against the Pacers, but it wasn't. It was 3 hours of table work, workouts, and getting individual shots up to make sure his back was ready to go for one NBA game. And when they asked Draymond Green, how are you feeling about that 3-hour rehabilitation center? And he basically said, look, it's definitely more taxing because at the 5, you're involved in every possession. At the 5, you've got to box out every play. 5s are trying to get the offensive rebound every single play. Even something as simple as that, call it 20 more box outs a game, that's contact. That's a battle. We've already had this discussion before in one of these videos earlier this week, talking about how Draymond Green, if you possibly move him to the 4 and you start Trayce Jackson-Davis at the 5, you could be prolonging this back injury for Draymond Green. But with Trayce Jackson-Davis, of course, you are putting a rookie kind of in that situation to lead the Warriors to the playoffs this year. I have faith in him, but it's making me wonder if the Warriors should go out and get a 5 in the offseason. When I'm thinking of true 5s in the NBA, there's 3 names that come to mind, and I've definitely reading your comments down low, and these are 3 names I think you're going to agree with. Number 1 that I do think the Warriors should go out and at least try to get is Nick Claxton of the Brooklyn Nets. He cleans the glass like no other in the NBA. And let's face it, the Brooklyn Nets, with the roster they have right now, they're not really making any moves. They're not bad, they're not great, but they're just not an NFL caliber type of team. Plus, Nick Claxton is going to be a free agent in the offseason, so you're not going to have to give up anybody in a trade in order to obtain Nick Claxton. However, the Brooklyn Nets have to be willing to re-sign him, which looks like they could, but there has been no progression towards a contract if they do want to re-sign him. So if he's a free agent, he could be completely open to join the West Coast team. Number 2, I'm still looking at Lauri Markkanen. While he could be a power forward in this league, if he's going to play for the Warriors, he's going to be at the 5. This would be great for the last couple of years of Draymond Green's career to move him at the 4, fully get the defensive assets out of Draymond that you want and that you can have if, like he said, that constant battle and connection that you're going to have at the 5 spot and contact that you're going to keep having with offensive rebounds, well, that gets thrown out the window when Lauri plays. Plus, he's going to be making $18 million next season, which means if you do want to take over his contract, which he has 1 year left on his contract with Utah Jazz, you definitely have to cook up a trade in the offseason. But a 1-year deal for Lauri Markkanen could mean playoffs for the Golden State Warriors. At number 3, I've mentioned this name before, and you guys absolutely love him. Clint Capella with the Atlanta Hawks right now. I think that Clint would be the missing piece for the Golden State Warriors to be a true big. And like I said, kind of with the Brooklyn Nets, the Atlanta Hawks seem to be falling apart. They were talking about DeJounte Murray trades the entire first half of the year. He's not working well with Trae Young, and they're not really going to make the playoffs this year unless they make it past the play-in round, as they're ranked number 9th or 10th in the Eastern Conference right now. So he is eligible for an extension after this year. I have a feeling if the Atlanta Hawks do not offer him a contract extension, he is not going to want to stay there for a prolonged period of time, which means if they don't offer him that extension, I think Dunleavy needs to make some moves, make an offer, have a trade, and pick him up for 1 year, making about $22 million to $25 million, especially if you're not re-signing Klay Thompson. If you do not re-sign Chris Paul's non-guaranteed $30.8 million, you're going to be clearing up a lot of money that players like Clint are not going to want to decline if the team does not offer a contract extension. Those are just 3 bigs that could possibly come to the Golden State Warriors if Mike Dunleavy plays his card rights. And when I'm looking at these 3 players, I wish they were on the roster right now. I cannot express how much the Golden State Warriors need a true big. Kevon Looney is trash at this point. Dario has become trash at this point. He has not hit a shot since February. Draymond is by himself without Trace Jackson Davis, and Draymond standing at 6'6" isn't cutting it anymore. Name a center the Warriors should pick up in this offseason down below. It can be one of those three players I just mentioned, or it can be any other player on any other team. Go on ahead and drop it down low. And like I said, I want you guys to be involved in anything that happens around the Golden State Warriors, whether it's news and rumors. We broke down what NBA analysts had to say about the playoffs in the first half of this video. In the back half, we talked about centers that need to come to the Warriors. And this is information I don't want you guys to miss out on. A lot more information coming at you. All you guys have to do is hit that sub button for me.